Alright, hello everyone. So today I'm going to cover one more important topic related to the Salesforce CTA exam. So this topic revolves around the Query Plan Optimizer tool that we have in the developer console. Now let me first set the context when this tool comes into the picture. For example, if you are dealing with any large data volume object, right? And if we want to write a SOQL query on that particular object, so we might need to see a scenario where that query is selective or non-selective. In those scenario, if we have to take a decision whether a query is optimized or whether a query is selective enough, we generally take use of the Query Plan Optimizer tool. Now let's see in action how it works. Let's consider this as a contact object, and in this contact object we have a couple of fields that is already been created in this particular org. Let's go to the developer console. In this developer console, what I have done right now is I have simply queried on the contact object here, and in this contact object, just one thing I want to call out here, this data ID field is an external ID field, and as we all know, external ID field is an index field in Salesforce, and this is the standard lookup field that we have, account ID. So account ID is also an index field. Now if you see this query here, right? So what I've done is I've simply queried the contact object where level is tertiary, data is some data value, and account ID is this, right? So if I run this query, I see the data here. Now one thing, if you notice in this developer console is you will see here a button called query plan. Now how this query plan comes into picture, or how do we get to see this button? Now this button will only come if we go to this help and go to preference, and we need to turn this enable query plan as true. The moment we turn it as true, we get to see this button. Now, one thing I want to show here is, let's consider I removed everything from here and I simply run this query. So I see here 34 records. And if I click on this query plan, you see the cost is 3.23. Now what we say is, if a query cost is greater than 1, then it's a non-selective SOQL. So we should always keep in mind that we should keep the SOQL query cost less than 1. And lesser is better always. So obviously this query is not optimized. So if I have to optimize this, so let me just do a cut and just try to add this where clause. Okay. So if I add this where clause and if I go to this query plan, we would see right now this S object cardinality shows 34 records, and this cardinality shows 1 because there is only one record, and we see the cost drastically reduces to 0.1, meaning it is much more performant, right? Because this is an index field, account ID is an index field. But the moment we go here and we select or change this to not equal to, and we run this query and we run this query planner, we see the cost increases. It's no longer a selective one. So this is how we generally take a decision on what are the fields that we need to use in this SOQL query for making it a selective or a non-selective query. On a similar fashion, if I use this external ID field right now here and I run this particular query, and if I run this query plan tool, so you will find here there are two index options showing here, one for the standard account ID field and one for this external ID field. And out of this, it shows that if I go ahead with this account ID in the where clause, the cost is less and it will be much more performant and it will be much more selective. So this is how we generally take a decision on how or which fields we generally want to use in the where clause to make the query much more efficient, performant, and optimized. Thank you. That's all which I wanted to cover today. So if you like my content, I request you to share, subscribe my channel. Thank you.